What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we are taking a look at the Lord of the Rings War of Rohirrim, and this is a new anime version of the Lord of the Rings, and this takes place, I do believe, after the Rings of Power, but before the Lord of the Rings, because there is orcs looking for the rings in this one. But we have taken a look at quite a few Lord of the Rings sort of subjects on the channel recently. We've taken a look at two of the biggest Lord of the Rings sets ever made. We have taken a look at a load of LEGO customs from the Rings of Power, and we've taken a look at the Rings of Power Season 1 and 2 on the channel as well. And I will be looking at the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits movies in the future over the next couple of weeks. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I've just never had the time to with the more recent movies that I've been watching. So without any further delay, let's take a look at what Google has to say. So this is a 2024 fantasy action animation, which is 2 hours and 14 minutes. It has a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.1 out of 5 on Amazon. You can watch this movie on Amazon Prime, Sky Store, Google Play, or YouTube. A sudden attack by Wolf, a ruthless dune landing. Lord forces Helm, Hammerhand, and his people to make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of Hornburg. Finding herself in an increasingly desperate situation, Helm's daughter, Hera, must lead the resistance against a deadly enemy who's intent on total destruction. So how the story actually starts is with our main redhead girl going for a horse ride, casual horse ride, coming back to see a gathering of the lords. One of the lords comes in who wants the redhead to marry his son, and him and the king have a little bit of a scrap outside, and the king one-punch mans him straight in the head, kills him. He then banishes his son, and his son is then plotting revenge. The girl is then now permitted to never ride on her own again because of people dying in the sort of surrounding lands. So she goes to ride out with a group of people, gets attacked by a giant elephant, who then gets eaten by a giant squid, and then she gets kidnapped by Wolf's men, and then the three people that she was traveling with go and rescue her from Wolf's men, and she finds out Wolf is planning an attack. She goes back to her father, tells the people, one of his lords is like, oh, don't worry, I'll team with you, I'll give you all my supplies, and then finds out that, you know what, he was actually teaming with Wolf instead, so they're gonna die. They are then pushed back into the mountains, forced to leave their village, which is on fire and burning to the ground, and hiding in this mountain fortress. The redhead's brothers both die very gruesome deaths, very brutal deaths, and that does lead to the king being very upset. The king is filled with arrows, and then is being filled with sort of remedies and healing items, and then he breaks out of the kingdom and starts beating the shit out of the warriors at night, ripping them apart with his bare hands, and people think it's a ghost or a ghoul, and he's beating through his army one by one. Wolf's army is then building a giant sort of mechanism to break into the castle walls, break into the fortress walls, and the redhead girl manages to follow the path that her father took to escape the castle unseen, and she gets caught by orcs. Her dad then comes in fucking swinging with his bare fucking fists and takes out all three of the orcs who were looking for one of the Rings of Power, and then he goes out and fucking beats the shit out of the army, and he freezes to death, and he's frozen like a statue, doing the fucking All Might pose, with a fucking surrounding bodies, which is badass as fuck. We then have the girl put on a wedding dress and fight Wolf, saying that she wouldn't marry him, and Wolf then agrees to her terms. If she wins, that he'll call off the attack. He doesn't after she wins and does a full sort of assault. They then start losing the battle because of one old lady on a bridge fucking taking them all down, and then the bridge burns down to the ground, and they don't actually kill Wolf, they let him go with his life, and she doesn't want to be king, so she gives it to her mate, and she fucking dips with the old lady to go explore the world. And that's the story. I'm gonna be honest, it is a pretty cool story, but it does go quite slow. It is a 2-hour story, and I managed to explain it in under 4 minutes, so, you know, it is very, very slow, and does drag a little bit, and there's a lot of talk in this thing, and I think it's pretty much as long as the other Lord of the Rings movies, but even the other Lord of the Rings movies have a lot more going on in them than this one does. 2-hour movies are more of the norm nowadays, whereas they wasn't when the Lord of the Rings first came out. And yeah, this just feels quite slow and very boring. It's all building up to this one big end battle, which is very anticlimactic because they get defeated in like 10 minutes. It's not a big grand battle at the end, it's a pretty quick sort of one and done battle. The best scene in the movie was the fucking old king guy fucking taking out the entire army with his bare fucking fists in the freezing cold and then hitting the All Might pose because he fucking won like a fucking goat. Honestly, that was sick as fuck and genuinely one of the best scenes in the entire fucking movie. There was a couple of plot points which were set up, like the eagles, which were quite cool. Lord of the Rings and its eagles, they fucking love them. They love the eagles in Lord of the Rings, and it was cool. It was cool. There is other bits which I would have preferred, gonna be honest. There is a couple of bits which you could have cut out and, you know, not really needed to sort of shorten the runtime. Like the elephant being eaten by the giant squid. Nothing came of that. It just stopped her from being attacked by the elephant. You could have just had her outrunning the elephant. You know, there's better ways to deal with the elephant than having it be killed by a giant squid and have that fight take like 5-10 minutes. It was odd choices and odd filmmaking decisions that made this movie feel a lot longer and a lot slower than it actually was. The betrayal of the king is a good plot point, which I genuinely didn't actually see coming. However, they didn't really develop his trust with the king at all previously, so we genuinely had no right to trust him anyway. We just assumed to trust him, and that's what this movie does. It makes you assume like the basic bare necessities and then flips that on its head. Like, it gives you very bare minimum to work with and then hits you with the unexpected. I genuinely didn't expect both of the brothers to die. I only expected one of them to die, and he did write his own funeral by saying, "Oh yeah, we'll sing ballads. I hope that one day they'll sing ballads about me." That's writing your own funeral, buddy. You're gonna die a pretty unballadable death. Some of these characters I felt were quite stupid as well, just with the way that they were talking, because the way that they spoke was like, right, you're writing your own funeral, you're saying that, and that's going to get you killed. Being this arrogant and this sort of self-centered is going to get you killed. It's not going to, you're not going to last too much longer, buddy. You know. Character designs were pretty cool, and I am going to be making some LEGO customs on this series in the next couple of days, so if that is something that you are excited about or are interested in, definitely subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the upcoming LEGO customs, because I think these character designs are really cool and are really interesting and definitely worth taking a better look at than what we've done in previous sort of film reviews. We don't often make LEGO customs for every single movie we take a look at. That's just not possible. I'd be here all year making LEGO customs, but for the movies with the character designs that stand out, or the movies that I do really enjoy, they're the ones that we do make LEGO customs for, especially with the characters that I really do like for this movie. And we do have name drops, which is just here for fan service, like Solomon the White and Gandalf the Grey. Their name drops here are just to basically satiate the Lord of the Rings fans and to get people to be like, oh my god, it's Lord of the Rings, oh my god, I love this guy, it's Gandalf, look, it's Gandalf. And I'm going to be honest, I did shout Gandalf at the end, and I was getting hyped because she said Gandalf, so I was one of the little nerds that I'm talking about here, that the fan service of saying Gandalf was for, but I am still knowledgeable, and I am still aware of why they did that, and like what made them do that, to get everybody hyped about Gandalf being here, and to get everyone hyped about, you know, the excitement of Gandalf. The villain's reason for being a villain, I wasn't too convinced by. His father died, fair enough, but he didn't even look like he liked his dad anyway. Like, his dad was a dick, and his girlfriend didn't want to marry him. That was it. That is very shallow, that is very basic sort of villain reasoning. Your dad died, and, like, the girl that you like turns you down. That is very pathetic, like, reasonings for being a villain, and I've spoke about this sort of reasoning for being a villain in previous videos and previous film reviews, because it's a very reoccurring concept that these characters will just become villains because someone turned them down, and that's very shit. That's very basic and very boring character trope. It doesn't give them much sort of depth as a character. It sort of makes them feel very shallow and very basic. And if that's what you're going for, if you're wanting your characters to be shallow and basic, fair enough. But if you're going to have the big bad be this dishonorable, shallow character, give us something else. Give us something to show that he's dishonorable. Don't just make him not stay true to his word. Why is he dishonorable? Give us something a little bit more. Give us some more meaning to his character. Because we didn't get anything. Like, we got nothing. He felt forgotten about. And, you know, that doesn't make you want to take out an entire country. Your quarrel is with one person, not an entire fucking civilization. And he won. He won several times in this battle, and then he kept pushing for more. He kept pushing until he had them feeling the pain that he felt, and it just felt very, like, lackluster. So, here we go. That's my review of the movie. That's my quick thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you all thought down in the comments below. And if you do want me to review any other movies, TV shows, or animes, please do leave them down in the comments below, because I do daily sort of film anime and news videos, and I'm running out of stuff to talk about. So, you know, if you have any thoughts or suggestions or something that you want to see me talk about, definitely leave it down in the comments below. And other than that, this movie is a solid 7 out of 10. Doing a bevo here. Pulling a 7 out of 10 for this one. So, yeah, other than that, bye-bye.